and good morning, or wherever we are connected. We are a diverse distributed group.
Good day.
We have the panelists coming up across the different locations, and let's get geared up for the last stretch of our Agile Summit. We don't want to end the summit, but still there should be a pause. It's if not a stop, at least there should be a pause for us to get engaged and get ready for the next summit. So let's get started with our last set of today's summit. So let me start introducing our diverse panelists today for the Agile transformation coaching, or a conversation, maybe not the coaching, Agile conversation or transformation conversation. So our first panelist, we have Agile evangelist with 26 years of experience and a project management advocate, contributes actively to the strategizing Agile adoption and executing the transformation of Agile roadmap for the organizations, focused on emotional intelligence, which is very key in this current situation of how the things are happening across the world, and the holistic approaches in the transformation, coaching the leaders, change agents, teams, whatnot. He's a huge package coming up. My coach, my mentor, my buddy, I can call. Let's welcome Nagini to the panel. And next to add, we have another experienced coach, currently working as an Agile transformation lead based out of Canada at HCL, with 17 years of experience, an SPC safe program consultant, and been part of Agile transformation with clients like Telstra, Ericsson, Signifi, Lego, IKEA, etc., and leading an Agile transformation at the world's largest toy company, Mattel Plus, and the practice development across the region. So let's welcome Namrata, our second panelist for today's Agile coaching Fireside chat. Let me see how we can pin. Just a minute. We are bringing the panelists to the screen. Now we have our next panelist, an SPC, an enterprise Agile coach. He's a qualified flight test engineer from Air Force Test Pilot School and holds an MS in software systems from BITS Pilani, a nuclear science qualification from BRC, a certified Lean Six Sigma Black Belt, certified Scrum Master, and an RTE. And he has coached, trained multiple corporates in diverse domains and cloud native data protection, banking, finance, healthcare in their lean Agile transformation journeys. An Air Force veteran with three decades in program management, he harnessed those very unique skills from the trenches for coaching the teams, change agents, and leaders in corporates to adopt a lean Agile mindset and inherit a learning culture. Welcome, Vaibhav, to the panel. We are very, I don't have a words to say, happy to have an excellent diversified panel in our today's discussion. Let's get started. So if I have to start asking the questions to trigger the fire, do we really need an Agile coach?
You want me to answer that question? You didn't give the
Yes,
clue.
please, go ahead. Yes, I'm waiting. Who will catch the ball?
So, see, it is the example I always take when I wanted to, justify why you need an Agile coach is like, when you have a toddler and when he is starting to walk, what are that few things you do as a parent? If they don't have that initial knowledge of making them walk, you are making them understand what it is by showing them that it is walking, and you handhold them till they get that the mechanism of walking on their own, and that support you provide them until they are on their 2 feet. And you are giving them that kind of a guidance as they are trying on different surfaces and at different speeds. So if you want me to put Agile transformation just as a metaphor for a toddler, I'm saying it is not that they don't know how to deliver a project or how to deliver the business, but you are trying to make them do something new as a corporate. So at that point, I'm not coming in to make you do your development work, or I'm not coming in to make you do something differently which is not relatable to you. But since the organization has some other goals to achieve, faster delivery, good quality, etc., we are trying to do that bit coming as a coach, where we are not trying to disrupt what you are doing. We are just trying to support you to get the new ways of working, where you are trying to be in the new way of working, doing the same old development work but in a different pattern. To make everybody understand, we have got a lot of frameworks or methodologies in place, and since all of us have to be on sync, we will use that as our I would say it's just a framework, a skeleton, where we are trying to do our things in our way. So if I have to use the metaphor of a toddler, yes, I need a parent support when I'm trying to stand up on my feet. So the same thing has to be, applied for a new transformation initiative, where we know there are some hiccups. We know there is a good roadmap as a coach. So we come with that expertise, and we are not trying to disassociate ourselves from helping them in any other different way. For example, if they want a technical support or technical know-how, we are there to help them. My only worry is when you are asking this question, Satish, it has a two-prong approach to that. How good you are as a coach and what is the value add you are getting on to the table is my question. If you can answer these questions, no organization says, I don't need a coach. If you can represent yourself that this is what I have with me, and since you asked me for this, I can help you in this way. Nobody says I don't need a coach. Yeah. And a similar metaphor, if you take, after the toddler has learned how to walk, you may not need the same coach to be there on the back of that toddler, but still you will have him in your view as a parent, just giving the support. You may have the attention towards a different child or a second child, but still you will have your hand holding given to that person when the kid who has learned to walk, but still you are there with them, right? I would say this has to be the pattern in any organization to have a successful transformation. Anyway, we always say that, you have to understand where you have to implement the first project as a pilot, show the results. So this is what I say. I don't know if I had made sense or not, but that is how I translate my importance of being an agile coach in an organization.
No, I agree with you, Nagini, completely. And if I will say that, if there is an agile and if there is an inclination to do that software development in an agile way, right? And you have tried something and now you want to, make your performance better. So like any sports coach, right? Why do they bring in a coach, right? They know that they have reached at certain level and now they want to, go beyond that. Yeah. At that time, they bring in coach, right? So you are an agile coach when people have tried all these things and they now want to, look at what is the different thing. Don't try to, fit yourself that if they do not have a vision, right? So I always take this as a metaphor. Like if somebody wants to do, exercise, they want to be healthy. And now if they are coming for a gym training and they have heart problems, and they have some other BP problems, and they have so many other problems, and you start telling them, okay, why don't you start running on a treadmill, without understanding what is their other physical challenges, right? You are not a fantastic trainer, right? You need to now tell them that, okay, why don't we go and see the doctor first? So as a coach, you also need to understand whether you are a right fit as well, right? If they have some different problem, right? If they are still, I'm using or referring a Canafin model, right? If they're still solving the very basic problems, they are not doing any complicated or complex stuff, why do they want you to, push them into agile, right? That they can do it in a night, do it in a very systematic way. It's only when they are really facing those complex problems where they are finding it challenging, they need, some support, then you come and, try to help them. Otherwise, I have been, I am a part of a practice, right? But we always suggest them that, why don't you try these things? Do we need to be 100% agile, every agile organization enterprise? No, we may not be, right? There are certain pockets which are very easy to, you want to apply agile mindset, you want to apply simple practices, you want to learn from the feedback, you really want to quickly inspect and adapt. Why not, right? You will not use Scrum, but there are 43, 44 other methods, right? You can go and pick up anything from them that might work for you. So agile coaching is not Scrum, right? Agile coaching is not safe. Agile coaching is not just less or dad, right? It is what will work for the person, right? What is the problem they are facing. As an agile coach, right? You have lived that, you have experienced that, right? You know that what it takes to deploy something into production. You know that what it means by an automation testing, right? You can empathize, but you are not giving them solutions. Maybe you don't have all the answers, but you at least know what they are going through. You have lived it, right? You may not have played all the types of soccers, but at least you have played soccer, right? You can relate what is the pain and when they are saying all these things. So I think agile coaching is never dead. It's not gonna die. It's not gonna go away. It's only maybe the way you will be with the teams might change, right? Earlier you maybe was with them when they were just doing Scrum. Now they are doing a lot of product thing. Now a lot of chat GPT, AI, ML, those things are coming, right? You may want to pivot with them and say that, okay, this is earlier you were making more value. Now you can make more value in this sense, and you need to continuously upgrade, right? You need to learn what is coming up in the market. And then maybe you can able to relate it with your past experience. And maybe you need to sit like when I did my first RPA program, I have no clarity how RPA works. I actually used to sit with my developers and understand, okay, this means RPA, right? Okay, so what are the things that you can now make such certain changes? So I think being with them, understanding things, and then preaching to the next teams, that makes sense. But if you have never lived that life, you can say agile coaching is not needed. 10 years back, agile coaching was there. Believe me, after like Liza started or all these people started in 2001, we are sitting into 2023. After 10 years, like I will be sitting in 2033 if I'm alive, right? There may be different shapes, there may be different methods, new frameworks, right? Nagini may have invented a new framework by then, and we may be, saying that Nagini's framework we are implementing, right? But there will be all these core things that are there, and I think core will never go away anywhere in the software development life. Please, everybody, okay, I will keep silent, keep on pitching, saying,
Definitely, Namrata. Thanks for adding the points. So just to fix the guests, just now Namrata mentioned like core will never go away. Vaibhav, now moving to you.
Yeah.
Being from like the Air Force veteran, like what is your experience of like, you want to add some points to that?
Yeah. So Satish, maybe after Nagini and Namrata both have run those 2 marathons, right? Explaining about your question. Do we need agile coaching? So I want to just run a small sprint, right? Just one quote, the one quote which all of us know, right? Which says, change is not necessary, just as survival is not mandatory, right? So that I think summarizes whether we need a agile coach in today's complex work. And Namrata mentioned also about Kunevin network, right? So when we are dealing with such issues, definitely agile coaching is in a large way important. And I don't mention agile coach. Here I mention agile coaching, right? Because it is finally about the coaching as well as it is about agile. So these two things surmise, I think, again, going back to Namrata, and I will cut short my part over here. You can look at Rahul Dravid's expression when Rishabh hits out, right? So that is something I think agile coach has to live by. And that I would like to add. That's it.
Excellent. Yeah.
Definitely. So now let's come back to Namrata. So you had a lot of experience training or coaching or mentoring the leaders. Right? How easy or how tough it is to get a buy-in for any or sponsorship from a leadership team for initiating any transformation or any agile project, agile initiative?
Thanks, Satish. Maybe, I'll take this question in a two folds, that I am still not there where I am able to, go and say to an organization that, hey, you need an agile transformation, right? I'm still in my journey, right? So what I have been is, like, when I started, I was a developer. It was happening. Then I wore multiple hats, and then I was contributor. And then when the real switch came, I gave an interview, right, back like 7-8 years back, for an agile coach. And after 15 minutes, that gentleman politely told me that, Namrata, I am rejecting you. I said, oh, that was a shock at that time. But then I said, oh, we have 30 minutes. I still have 15 minutes. Can you guide me that what are the points you are looking at, right? In 15 minutes, he gave me whatever I wrote it. And it took me 3 years to prepare and go back with that courage to give that interview again. Okay, not with the same guy, but that kind of a role, right? So if you ask me, I am still not there where I am, kind of a sitting up in that executive leadership layer where I'm telling that, you need an agile transformation. Where I'm sitting right now is like where leaders, because I think in new world, if a leader is there, and I'm talking about now executive leadership, because everybody is a leader as per me. But if you're sitting at an executive leadership layer, today that what is the new world, right? And they know that, no development, software development is happening in non-agile manner, right? They know it. It's only that their business was earlier not, in that thing, but now business has also realized, right? So I think there is a variety of things that they want to do. So as Nagini said, right, we need to understand what they are trying to look at. Nobody is looking at agile transformation, okay, to be true. They are using agile transformation or agile as a mechanism to deliver better value. And that value to the earlier, it was like the value to maybe internal stakeholders. And now that value has started coming up as a value to the outer users, the customers, right? So people have started looking more from a customer centricity perspective. And that is where the business agility and all that are coming up. Were they there earlier? Yes, they were. Are they in a limelight now? Yes, they are in a limelight now. So now it's like when I would say that the 30% or 40% people start looking at those things, that are the things when they start coming in the limelight, right? So at that level, when I have to work with the executive leadership, I think they already know that agile is the thing, right? The biggest challenge which we feel or a face is level below. Okay, because at that level, the leaders still have a biasness towards what they were earlier doing, right? It's their comfort zone, right? If you ask me, is it easy for me to get up 5 a.m. club and do all these things? No, it was very difficult. It took me 3 years to adopt that model. So how can I expect a person to go and tell them, within 3 days, why don't you? So I think understanding that transformation takes time, working with your executive leaders and making them understand that, it is going to be a 2-3 years journey if you are really looking at it. That is the key thing. And to do that kind of a conversation, you need a lot of courage as a coach. And the courage comes with an experience. And the courage comes with the knowledge and the wisdom. And the courage comes with the failures that you have seen. I am still on a journey to fail. So I think, let's see how it goes. And I would like Nagini and Vaibhav to add more. But I think as a coach, you need a lot of courage to sit in that group and challenge. And it's not easy, right? You will just get an entry in the room, but to create a stable space, right? I'm not talking here about inclusion, right? Or collectiveness. It's not for a man or for a girl, right? To be and tell them that, I can come and I can sit and I can consult you, right? It's a big deal. It's not easy, right? They know everything. So that is where the agile coaches, we need to have a lot of techniques, tools, variants, understanding with us that what it takes to convince them, and you will not be easily able to convince them. It will take a lot of others. It's a long conversation, but I would like to cut it short that I am still not there, that I can sit with executive leadership, but still I am there that, once they have understood that it is needed, I'm a part of their transformation groups, making sure that, how we are executing this journey to be true. Okay. So that is my experience. I would like more experienced people to comment on that. You have failed more.
Hey, thanks for opening up that conversation, Namrata. For me, when we meet leadership teams, usually we used to hear when we started our conversations with them in the transformation journey, there was one coined word for VUCA world. Now it is no more a VUCA world. After the pandemic, everything became banny, brittle, anxious, non-linear, incomprehensive. That's a new world now, because you never know what is the situation the leader is in when you are going and meeting them, though you have got an appointment to meet him for this reason. Because as a leader, they are doing multitasking and giving you that 1 hour to talk to you on leadership or the transformation initiative itself is a buy-in for you, that they accepted you as an expert and gave you that chance. Now for me, I have to equip myself with some tools. I first want to equip myself with some tools for my personal growth, to be in a position to gather the courage, the wisdom, all the things which Namrata was saying. I may have to develop myself, my personal growth. I have to have what I'm going to preach them, or what I'm going to advise them. I have to be mindful of what I'm doing. I have to have that mindfulness, in my veins, flowing in my blood before I say that to them. Also, I have to first understand myself. My self-awareness is very important. How am I putting my point across to the leadership? Where is my strength? If I don't know my strength and I just stick to some points where I heard from somebody and go and present, I am in a soup. The second question the executive is going to ask, I know where I am, because I didn't experience that myself, so I can't answer that. And one advice I would give to anybody who's going to an executive coach, to coach an executive, go with the systems thinking. You have to understand from the 10,000 feet what is happening in the company. If you don't have that clue, the second question the executive is asking you, you are bowled, because the terminology you don't understand, the pain points they are trying to tell you, it won't help you because you don't know what is happening in the company. So the homework is very important for me to go and meet an executive for coaching session. Moreover, I have to understand how to convert what they are giving me as an input into the roadmap, where I can show them, okay, this is what I understood from you. Am I right? Check it with them. I know I'm an expert and I'm going there, but before their expertise on the domain, on the organization, I'm nothing, right? So we have to leverage that in the initial stages, lay down that partnership with them, and help ourselves to understand what is required for that organization and the leadership to accept you as their coach. Once you do that, whatever you tell them is going to help the organization achieve that transformation. So for me, my own toolkit is always going to help me when I go prepared with what I wanted to express or what I want to convey to the leadership. I get that, the elevator pitch we used to have, the beautiful concept of an elevator pitch. If you have that 3 seconds with a leader, what is that you want to talk to them? I always follow that. The first 2-3 sentences we open up the conversation has to hook them to you, and they have to understand what are you trying to tell them. That 2 minutes are gone, he is no more with you. He is not going to be with you. He's not going to listen to next sentence what you are trying to tell, because he has already lost the interest. Okay, these people doesn't know anything. After that, it is, triple difficult for you to get him back into your conversation. This is the first thing I have learned. Though I have not worked with external clients, right? I have worked more with my own organizations as an internal coach. Even it is difficult for us to convince them for a leadership coaching, because we know how difficult it is to reach to that level, even from an internal coach perspective. And when they give you that short period of half an hour or 1 hour to discuss a transformation journey, you understand the importance of that 1 hour and the first 2-3 minutes of your speech. If you can crack that interest and attain that trust in that 2-3 sentences, they are with you for the next half an hour. And I saw the question, what is your suggestion? So that's what I'm trying to say. You have to improvise yourself as you are trying to grow in this journey. There is no stoppage for your self-learning. I just use these two words, VUCA world and Bani world. How many of us know that this has got coined already? I was actually stunned to see this word coming up when I was searching for what is happening around, when people were talking about ChatGPT. One of my leadership team member, my executive leadership leader has called me and said, what is your opinion on ChatGPT? Everybody is talking. What do I need to do that transformation? And it is giving me a story. Is this right? So I have to understand, right, what to answer in that moment. So you are trying to get the information around, because there is no breadth of information around us right now. That's where I said incomprehensive. You don't know which one to take and which one to leave. So it's so more information around you that you have to be choosy and picky where you have to put your strengths on and where you have to neglect it. So the suggestion I would give is do your hard work, be growing. There is no need to get offended that they are not listening to you. It is a learning for you that this is not working. So go with a different strategy next time you are meeting similar person in the company. So
Okay.
Vaibhav, you can add your points.
Yeah. In fact, Nagini
Today,
went to...
you need to steal time, Vaibhav. Okay, otherwise we'll keep talking.
Sorry for that.
I have to steal the time between to ask the questions. Yes, yeah, Vaibhav, go ahead.
Yeah. So Nagini actually went into a what we call as a low-level combat, right? She said 10,000 feet. We normally talk only about 35,000 feet.
Yeah.
10,000 feet is very risky because we have to go into enemy territories. We go below that. That's 10,000 feet.
That's
so
correct.
having said that, other point which Namrata also said, right? She said everybody is a leader. So what we say is anyone who inhales and exhales, right, is a leader in this particular case. And we do not have to look out for their buying, because buying is like they're selling, right? We're selling something and it is the transactional part. What we actually need to get is their enrollment.
Yeah.
And I think in the executive leadership, my feeling is that they have to be transparent to the extent of being unfiltered transparency to the maximum level what they, because finally at an executive level, you are looking at an organizational part. You want your teams to go and take that CEO stance. In that case, that transparency, unfiltered transparency is of essence. And I think my own experience is one cloud-based company, when I had to get into their coaching part. On day one, I'm telling you, as on day one, when I went across, the chief product officer called out his strategy, and his strategy was really awesome, calling out all the other competitors, but he got the agile coach on day one into that office. I think that talks a lot. That talks a lot about an executive leadership that is focused on having that transformation. And as Namrata said, they are not looking at agile transformation. They are looking at business outcomes.
Yeah.
So in that way, I think as agile coaches, we have to quickly catch what the outcomes they are looking at and then bring all our might, which Nagini said. We have to have that thing within us, that fire within us to help them, right? So that I think gets us into a large way to tackle the executive leadership part. I think that is my say on this.
So, Vaibhav, just to continue the conversation, Nagini and Namrata mentioned it is really tough to get the buy-in or the support from leadership within the company itself. Being a consultant, how easy, or maybe you can share any example like where you found it tough to crack any deal or any conversation with the leadership outside, being an outsider as a consultant?
I think that is much easier than being within the company. As a consultant,
now it is interesting.
yes, absolutely. I full belief on that. As a consultant, you got to say whatever you want to say, and in a much better way, right? You don't name people, you name the issue which they have come up.
So areas,
yes, that's an important and advantageous part of being a consultant. You don't have to mince your words, but put it on the rightfully, as Nagini said, put it on the right platter so that they can pick up what they want and then go ahead. So as a consultant compared to a full-time person, I think consultants have their say, and I think they should exercise that. Offer your shoulder, right? Offer your shoulder for them to fire their guns. That inside an organization, people find it really difficult to do that. So as a consultant, I think with the executive leadership, you have full rights. But having said that, that executive, whatever is said, that escalator pitch is very much required. They have that much time only to give it to you. Utilize it and you will see the changes flowing in at all levels. Where you see that the middle and senior program manager level, if you feel the challenges, those challenges will just melt away. The fire is behind, they will just go into the fire. You won't face them. That's
and just to add on Vaibhav, even if you are inside an organization, like maybe, it's not feasible that in your personal, like if I am, right? I am an employee within ID services, right? But still, I always wear a consultant hand and I offer that shoulder that, okay, if you just want to be safe and you want to use me, and we would use certain aspects, be courageous. As an agile coach, you should be courageous if your leader is still doubting, right? They have still fears, they have not come out of their fears, they still feel that they are still judgmental, right? They still are not that open to take the challenges. So you be consultant for them, right? Even if you are within an organization, if you are always saving your job, your face, right? You don't want to be a bad cop, you just want to be a good thing, you just want to be the best thing, you are not an agile coach, right? So first thing, even if you are internal, right, there will be very tough conversations, there will be hundreds of conflicts. You cannot run away from that. If as an agile coach or as a scrum master, you are running away from conflicts, having tough conversations, having not courage to come up, yesterday was a bad day, do your meditation in the morning, come up again, smile and say, yeah, let's go, right? So if you have that kind of attitude, then you are a successful agile coach. If you are just drowning in your emotions and you are sad and you are cribbing and you are saying that, okay, somebody killed my yesterday, then you need to work on yourself first. You have, maybe your day worse. I'm say sometimes people say, Namrata, could you please excuse us? We have something urgent to do. I say, oh, I'm an agile coach, enterprise agile coach, so much. This person is telling me he has got a problem. No, you have to be very humbling in that situation, like a consultant, and just turn up again like a salesperson. Hey, good morning. We have something for you. And it is not like you need to be, always offering. It is you are offering them an emotional support. And that I learned, with neurosciences, with psychology. And I used to be so judgmental about men in the beginning, okay, to be true, that, oh, it's very difficult for me. They get everything easily. They have all these things. And when I went into the neurosciences, I understood that, why females are multitaskers and men are not. Why, so also if you are growing as a women leader, just keep that aspect, behind and treat everybody as equal professionals. Yes, understand that there are certain emotional traits or some brain parts of it, and understanding 3 parts of a human brain, all these things that help you to actually not being opinionated yourself, right? You are not just throwing your opinions, you are understanding. That was the, like, I would say, few key moments for me when I learned it from the professional coaches. I'm still not a professional coach. I'm a consultant, to be true. Till today, I'm a consultant. That is where I have not started any ICF journey, because I feel that I jump into sometimes solution when I see people struggling. I just don't want them to lose faith in me. And I said, okay, let me help you. Right. So I know if I'll be a coach, I will be, forcing them, find your solution. So yeah, I still, when people ask me, I say I am an agile enabler and I'm a consultant. And then I'm slowly becoming a coach, but I wear a solutioning hat many times, to be true.
Just to add to what Namrata has just brought out about the behavioral thing and the emotional thing, I learned it the hard way that executive leaders always look for a coach, not a mentor or a consultant, because they are the aces of their game. They don't need your consultation or the mentoring hats to run their business. They just need your expertise on the transformation. So control yourself when you're talking to them and leave the consultation part on their business or how to run the business. Just concentrate on what is required for them to adapt to the new changes, what gets them to the desired outcome. They are happy with that, and their coaching will go smoothly if you only talk about these 3 things. What is the outcome they are looking for? How do you change the existing system to achieve that, or where they want you to change that? And if you change, what will be the outcome? If you just give that consultation to them about the transformation, they will be with you. But if you start poking into their business expertise and give some kind of gyan on that, you are gone. So don't ever cross that bridge.
So Nagini, your answer triggered a new question from my side. Like, what is the outcome expected out of an agile coach any point of time?
All the things I told are the outcomes of an agile coach.
Yes.
So just to be, I was just kidding. I learned it after I failed quite a number of times, that don't hesitate to be the mirror yourself. Let them reflect and give them that space where they feel trusted. And you are not actually crossing that bridge, what I have told, that you're not going to tell them what they are good at to change that or something. But if they want some outcome, you have to know how to make that visible to them. The roadmap has to be understood properly before you go and tell them. Where the devil's advocate be the devil's advocate for yourself. Find out the loopholes before you go and present something to them. You may have a collaboration in the organization to get answers where you don't know, and you don't have to miss the connections. There are a lot of enabling functions. There are a lot of dependencies to design a roadmap. If you neglect any of those connections or collaborations, you don't have the complete picture, because the executive already knows what is happening in his organization more than what you know. And if you are proposing a change, he already knows where it fails. So you have to prepare yourself in his position to see it from that level and give him the answers where he already have the doubts. That I know this one function works like this, but I see there is a problem here. Are you in an agile coaching, are you the expert who can give me that vision? That's what they expect from you. So just have that homework done thoroughly. You may go to his next level, or the support function heads, or the people whom you think may be the people who are facing that pain points in the organization. Go prepared for that presentation with the executive. You may ask time. You may ask him what he sees as the pain points. You can take his help to connect to those people. Sit with them. He may not have the complete 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours for you, but he can give you the leads where he feels this is the point I want to correct, or the outcome I'm expecting can be corrected if this happens. He may have a larger view, but he may not have the depth of what is required. Concentrate on that. And if you have the clarity of 360-degree view of that roadmap, then go and present it.
Absolutely. And just to add over this, Nagini, an example came to me like when I started coaching, maybe we will take a safe as an example that is able to relate. Everybody is able to relate, right? I always had I have a lot of product experience and a born digital organization experience. So like I always was thinking that, moving to cloud, everything is moving to cloud, right? And every time when I was building something, it was like, okay, these are the things. But when I actually started working with the enterprises, right, I started understanding their challenges. Believe me, I spent more than 7 to 8 months working with the infrastructure part of it, like your DCs, your all these things. What that means, and I worked for a solution as a solution trained engineer for one of the program, just to understand. Like I was always missing one bigger piece there. That whenever I was talking, I was like losing the interest of a very big portion of people, because I think I was not understanding them, what they are trying to say. So I think always reflect upon yourself when you are working at an enterprise level. As Nagini said, you should not be missing that piece. If you are missing that piece, they also have that pain point, you will say, oh, if you are just talking about AD, modern AD, digital transformation, cloud everybody has mastered the art of agile in this. Okay. It's a 2-decade-old thing now. Where the organizations are actually suffering are the support functions, the shared functions, right? How the audits happens, how the compliance things happen. So, right, to advise them, work with them, right? Work with certain things, open up that I don't know. If you don't know, start work with the compliance team as their Scrum master or a Kanban master, understands, what it takes, understand what is CAPEX and OPEX, right? If you are just telling them, giving them gyan, and you don't understand what CAPEX and OPEX is, right? Most of the agile cases don't know, right? So if you don't understand that, how will they write off the operational expense? You are making their DevOps team, and they are asking you about CAPEX, and you are not able to answer, right? You are missing a bigger piece. So try to learn those things. What are the questions they are asking? So I spent a lot of time in that part as well. And sorry, but I'm, always I take, because I'm an IT person, right? I focus majorly on software development, life cycle, IT. So non-IT, of course, maybe you can say that their business transformation mastery works, right? Lisa Atkins has coaching competency. But in the world where I am operating, right, there, all the 3 masteries are needed. You need to be technical, you need to be transformation, you need to be business. Yeah, maybe you can have a comb-shaped thing, right? Or a W-shaped skills, or a capability, or a Draper's model, or a Safia model as a coach, right? You may know as a horizontal one thing, very thing, and then the deeper, you need to, as you want to build upon more on your strategies, become more oriented to the enterprise coaching, you need to start looking at the capabilities and just pick up one. You don't know about CAPEX, OPEX, just pick up. I don't know. Let me do that. Right. Today, Balaji T, right? He talked about so many things, and I think I need to go back and I need to listen that, okay, what are the terminologies he has talked about, right? So sometimes you come across so many things that you sometimes, what you can do, you just put it in your backlog, and then you say, I don't know, let me find it out how it is happening in industry.
So whenever add to what Namrata said, whenever any executive level, they are looking at certain outcomes, we don't start at a whole big bang approach, right? We always start something at a team level approach. But mind you, team level approach, when you build up those self-organized, self-managed, cross-functional teams, they are very challenging, because you might successfully do that. Then where does the bottleneck, or where does the problem shift to? It shifts to the managers. You have teams which are self-organized, self-managing, and cross-functional. The bigger challenge is now, what does management do? It has so much free hand on its time. It cannot hold a cup of coffee and just sit next to the and have a fireside chat, right? So recontracting management becomes a very important and essential part of agile coaching. Many program managers rush to you to ask what is the thing. And I think once we fix that, then we can look at the major outcomes, what they're looking at. And there are multiple outcomes which are measured, right? You can do with KPIs, OKRs, you can look at those, Namrata, which mentioned competencies, flow competencies. You can look at normal competencies, which SAFe says. You can also look at the flow metrics, how we can deliver value in the hands of the customer. So those flow metrics, I think, are the things which we need to look as agile coaches for them to work on.
And absolutely, Vaibhav, I loved your example. And just to add, like when you said managers, what will they do? Back like 5 years back, when I went and when I explained one of my group that this is what's safe, or this is what the thing will happen, and these are how the teams will be formed. Couple of people, they said, don't you think I don't have any job here? What I will do? You are here to eat up my job. If I am managing all these things, I did not answer at that time. But if I now look back and I look at those transformations, actually, if those people have just upgraded themselves and they were ready to see that the change is coming, they are able to survive. Otherwise, of course, and that is the continuous evolution we need to also do as a managers, that if something new is coming, maybe it's not impacting me today, but down the line, when the industry will understand that power that I was thinking that it will go longer, like it will be 27 or 28, but I think pandemic has speed up that to be true. Like people are saying agile coaches are not needed. Actually, it's not agile coaches or managers, somebody who was not adding value, right? People sustained them for 3 years, right? So they were sustaining them for 2020, 21, 22, and 23. They said, hey, buddy, you are just eating up my budget and I didn't see any value. May I ask you, right? So I think that was the thing, that they were not seeing the value that you were adding. It was not about any role. I have seen many technical people, getting laid off. It's not just agile coaches. I'm sorry, right? I don't want to comment on these things. I'm really worried about things, but also this gives us an equal opportunity, right? What I used to tell earlier, that don't start looking to upgrade yourself when you are fired, right? Always upgrade yourself as soon as you have got a job, right? Because now you have financial stability. Now you can invest in your learning. People start investing in the learning when they are already in the operating from
Turbulence.
the turbulence, right? You are using your first brain, you are so tense, and now you think you will use your human brain to have an innovation. No, you can only learn when you have a stable job, stable thing. So start preparing yourself today when you have a stable job. Don't wait for when you will lose your job, then you will do certification, then you will learn. That thing, I think I realized because it happened to me way back. I was laid off. No, I was not laid off.
I
was
actually correlated with this, what you are trying to say, Namrata, with the fire drill demos we have in the office. When you are working, suddenly there is an alarm and you're all asked to do this fire drill, going through all that steps of what is making you safe, so that when you have an emergency, you will do what is required. And when you are in a calm and quiet environment, if you are doing something and the result is not coming as expected, then you have a correction to do. So I just have that correlation whenever I feel, how do you find the shortcomings of your transformation? Be in that space where you have that safety net, do whatever small pockets of changes you can do, and try to understand what else can we do. And this what else is not limited to 1 minute, 2 minutes, 6 months, 9 months. You have to have it continuous in your organization. Today it is safe, tomorrow it is DA or something is coming, and as an organization you have shifted your technologies. There may not be a relevance after that to safe, but still the growth mindset is what you have to carry forward.
But sometimes as agile coaches, we are not safe, right? Once the CEO asks you that, okay,
that's the answer Namrata gave.
No, you have to shadow him as an agile coach. After that, life became miserable because the program manager was always behind me whenever I used to go from one floor down to the other. So
yes, yeah.
So shadowing that
So
very challenging.
thanks for adding the points. I know we have disappointed a lot of folks who joined us to listen the success stories. We all of us shared the failure stories or the learning stories or the maybe in fact we set the path as like a guidance, like a continuous learning is the key. As a coach or whatever the role we are playing, like continuously making sure keeping relevant ourselves is the key.
That's the most
important
important
aspect any point of time. So just to add some spice, we have Ganesh Sahai, who is the chief CTO, to join us for the transformation coaching. Over to you, Sharath.
Yeah, thanks, Satish. It comes to an exciting session, and just to add more spice to that, we have one of the good panelists who has joined this to share his thoughts on transformation initiatives. He's an IIT and IIM alumnus with around 25 years of industry experience, having worked with companies like Adobe and Oracle. He is currently working as a global CTO at Nagaro, which is the fastest growing software services in the planet, right? He has been the entrepreneur and on multiple instances and did multiple ventures. His passion towards technology, innovation, people, and business led to setting with great teams and realize of world-class products being successful winners. So he has keen interest in data development in technology and business environments. So let me give a warm welcome to Ganesh Sahai to be part of this panel. Ganesh, welcome to you.
Hello, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So with the existing set of panelists that we already have, Ganesh would also participate in this. So Namrata, over to you again. Not much complex question, not such an easy question, but when we say, when we talk about transformation, right, we talk about either waterfall to agile, or people talk about scale transformation, a lot of things, right? So why people usually look towards multiple frameworks, and in your context, what worked for you?
Sure, Sharath. I think thank you for this question. And probably I would say that there are so many flavors to it, but because I have been fortunate, or maybe I would say I kept it as a goal that I wanted to go deep into transformation mastery from the life side, inside how I understood it. I really wanted to explore that what the different organizations, go through when they look at different flavors of agile transformation. Like why, when I did my SPC, I already had implemented 2 safe trains. So like, not like today, like I did it in 2016, but I already was doing a safe transformation, and I did it with one of the key SPCT fellow at that time. So then he guided me, why don't you go and do SPC? So right, it was like opposite thing. I was implementing transformations, and then I was seeing that okay, there are certain challenges and there are frameworks that can help, right? So the biggest thing is like when we are looking at agile transformation, right? There are a couple of words that I know that people use. It is first is agile transition. So like, are you new? I think in 2023, nobody is doing agile transitions anymore. Everybody have piloted, right? 60-70% of the organizations have already piloted, and they know what it means to move from waterfall to agile. They already know that, what are the technologies that are easy to move in an application development side of it, and work in an agile fashion and continuously ship things into the production and let the customers use it, right? So they have already seen that value. I think when the agile transformation is becoming popular, as per my experience is when they are facing the challenges, when there is not a single team that is contributing toward a value or a product, or the safe is finding out the agile value streams, operational value streams that Balaji talked about, right? That value stream, value delivery through various development value streams. I will not go into that complicated stuff, but it is something like when you need to deliver a big feature, and that big feature cannot be actually done by a one team. So like I was working with one of the largest airplane manufacturing thing. So we were using CAD, CATIA, and 2DX things, and we were looking at moving to 3DX platform. So like it was a big change. It was like a complete technology transformation. And to do all those things, when they estimated, when they looked at it like there will be a 500, 600 people that will get involved. There will be a lot of cross dependencies. There will be a lot of multiple, in an enterprises, there will be multiple organizations which will be touched. Like within an organization, right? You have a small units that will be touched. When people look at these kind of a scale, then they look at it like what is a right methodology for them, or what is a right framework for them. In that sense, now, no traditional framework is coming up that well. So if you really want to be close to, when you want to be very much aligned, people use SAFe. But then you may not be that large organization, right? You may have small groups, right? People then may want to look at Scrum of Scrums. If you don't know your value stream well, right? You are actually a toy manufacturing company or a bulb manufacturing company where your core business is to develop, Barbies or the other things of the world, right? Then you may not have that many development value streams needed. Then you may not need a different set of teams actually that is coming together and they are planning. So I think people have understood that, agile transformation is the combination of multiple aspects. It is about how you are coming together, operating together, and delivering what outcome you are looking at. And that is where they look at various frameworks, and that is where the choice of the frameworks makes sense. And many organizations, like my fellow coaches can comment, right? There are many hybrid frameworks that have worked for certain people. It's not like a ideal fit. So multiple, I think, options, if they're why they want to pick up, right, agile transformation. If that question is very clearly thought through, then it becomes easy.
That's great insight, Namrata.
And I would love,
to,
I think, to add, or Vaibhav
yeah.
and Nagini to add over it from their experience.
Yeah, Nagini, I was trying to ask you something. So what transformation means to you from your perspective, and what are the usual challenges that you face in your transformation initiatives?
I come from an internal coach perspective most of the time. So for me, there is a convenience of knowing the organization inside out, but there is also a challenge that the leadership always have a doubt about whether we know what is the industry doing, because we are internal to them. So I have this challenge of establishing my knowledge always and focus on my personal growth journey to be on par with any other coaches who are actually looked up for that kind of advice. So for me, the most of the times the challenge is being in their good books for an advice. And I have actually got one, I don't know whether I wanted to use it as a armor or the defense mechanism I use. I always go with the mindset of what if it fails? The transformation at any journey, the journey, wherever you have a journey, after a quarter, leadership is not interested to go ahead because of various reasons. It's not that because of the transformation is failing, but because of various reasons. There may be something like Corona has come in. The pandemic has changed a lot of initiatives in the companies. We have seen everything shattered overnight, and the business have disrupted in a big way. So I always have this a simple thing. What is the exit plan? If something suddenly happens, a disruption happens in the industry, in the technology, in the business, what is the best exit plan you can execute as a leader? If you can give that advice to them, they trust you. Because if I suddenly have to shut down the shop, how much I'm going to lose, where I'm going to bounce back, and what is the best exit strategy for me. This I have actually thought it, after I started making my son learn his driving. I learned it when I was making him learn the skill of driving. He had no trust on me, because I always get panicky when he does something wrong as a mother. So that instinct of a parent comes in when you're trying to make him learn something, right? So I have to hire one trainer who can give him that training without that, for him, that emotional baggage of mommy is going to scream if I do something wrong is not there for him. So when I had this journey with him, I actually related to a leader in the place of a parent. The company is like his child for him, and he knows he will scream if something happens and everybody gets shattered. So he has hired me for that, and I'm going to give that expert advice to him. That is where I learned this kind of a skill from that driver who came to make my son learn if something goes wrong, how to get away from that. That simple thing had made me think about it for a long term, and I always now prepare myself with that exit strategy for the leaders. Nobody thinks about the failure first and then go with the success, but that helped me
Obviously.
to answer that question, that ambiguity in this new normal.
Agree with, completely agree with you. And also, it's not a cakewalk, to parallelly run with the leadership in
Yes.
terms of their expectations. And usually people have time bound, transformation goals, right? Let's say, for example, in the next 6 months, I want to see the teams to be at this level. The next 6 months, I want to see they need a plan. And suddenly, if something goes hayway, they will get panic. So you need to travel with the leadership, take that friction, identify where we are lacking, and need to move forward. So I think that is where you are trying to forward your
Yeah.
insights. Thanks, Nagini. Yeah, that's great. Let's move to Rajesh. Rajesh, what a successful transformation? Sorry, Rajesh is not there. Let's move to Ganesh. Ganesh, what a successful transformation looks like for you, and what is your experience in this area?
Well, I think I've seen various phases of agile adaptation for many years now. Ever since it got started, and teams started to move from waterfall model to agile model. And at different stages, the success criteria was different, right? So if you look at in the beginning itself, it was like moving people from waterfall model to agile. That was one of the biggest challenge, and the success criteria was that whether we have been able to move them from waterfall to agile and they are following these sprints and so on, right? But fast forward, if I look at the current scenario, agile is de facto in most of the or software development teams, right? So having them basically following the format or the model is pretty much a done thing, actually, right? There may be scenarios where they may not be following it as per the principles and so on. So there's a course correction that needs to be done, and that's where some kind of intervention is required. Having said that, um, uh, if we talk about basically, let's say, the earlier era as 1.0, and let's consider this as 2.0, right? So in the current scenario, the transformation criteria or the success criteria has evolved, actually, right? It's no longer that you are kind of just following the agile principle, but it is for example, there was a talk of value that is being created. I think that now is a more focus area, and especially iteration over iteration, personally, that I see is what is the kind of continuous improvement that the teams are bringing in. That is very important. The teams, for me now, the success criteria is whether the team is able to break from hedonic adaptation, right, and move on to the next level. Now, when I say hedonic adaptation, what it means is that, for example, let's say, a person who is ambitious and has aspirations and he wants to buy a Mercedes, right? and he goes and buys a Mercedes, and he's very excited about it for a month or 2 months or a year or 2 year, and thereafter it becomes just a habit, right? So that charm of basically owning a Mercedes is no longer there. So that initial, if I talk about 10, 15 or 20 years back, that the team has transitioned to Agile, and there was an excitement. I think for me, actually, the way I observe working with multiple teams, hundreds of them, that excitement is gone actually, right? So there has to be something new that has to come in. And that new is basically the new level of transformation and the new success criteria. I'm very happy that you that you are bringing in, and it has to be a holistic thing. One is of course at the product level, but at the team level. So for example, what are the kind of continuous learning that they are having? They had a kind of a failure, right? Not just in terms of basically delivering some feature, right, but in terms of basically also that if they had to acquire a skill, how proficient they were in acquiring that skill and delivering on that, right? Many a times we just look at the feature part of, right, what was missed out of it, but we fail to understand at the root cause of it is not basically just if the line of code was written wrong, but it was basically what was the developer thinking, right? Whether that thinking is evolved in skill terms, right, in the domain knowledge terms. That is where basically learning and development initiatives have to come in. Are they part of our basically sprints or not is a different question, but it has to be inbuilt to the whole software development model that we're talking about, especially in terms of the continuous learning. Basically for me, success criteria now is not just following basically the format. It has reached to a level of maturity, and we are in a stage of hedonic adaptation. We need to move to the next level, which is continuous improvement, whether it is core engineering, whether it's learning and development, whether it is innovation, right, or whether it is understanding the business domain.
That's great insight, Ganesh. I think you have added key words like continuous improvement, how to upskill teams needs to upskill themselves, forward-looking nature, how to create the business value. As long as these ingredients are there throughout the project journey, I think teams will move in a right way, and they won't have that kind of worrying factor where they are moving in the right direction now. That's what I believe. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. Uh, let's move to Vaibhav. It's since quite good amount of time with us, Vaibhav. Vaibhav, from your side, can you share your experiences with respect to transformation? What tools that help you to drive the transformation?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, when we talk about transformations, the first thing we hear is why do transformations fail? And my experience is that transformations never fail. Because why do we do transformations? We do transformations maybe for culture, organization, business processes, or overall structure changing. But transformation finally are again processes, right? And it's a journey. And when you talk of a journey in terms of a transformation, it can never fail. That's my first take on that. Then when we talk about process, then what fails? Like generally people fail in two counts. We stick to tools and we stick to certain processes which are outside the context. So when I say about transformations which I have faced and challenges which I have seen, because you stick to tools and processes, because tools, if you see, you need to use them. What do we use them? To build walls, but they are supposed to actually build bridges. And we have multiple functional silos which build up even when the transformation is on. What I have seen is whenever in an organization, when you are doing transformation, whether it is a season or not, everyone wants to come up with watermelons, right? Everything green on the outside and inside, if you open, it's red. So what I have found is that when you have to attend to this, you have to utilize the tools in the right manner. And which, since you asked, the part two of the question was on tools. So there are multiple tools in this part, right? You start by not solving a problem. We start with discovering the problem. So that's where I think in our last 2 days tracks, you have got excellent speakers. They talked about design thinking. So like Dr. Pawan Soni says, it's about designing our thinking instead of some used tools. So those aspects I think is a very important aspect for us to diverge into that space of problem finding and then solving. Second is, for transformations to succeed, we have to get into the innovation space. But to getting into that innovation space, all the other things have to fit in part. That is building up the trust, building up those controls of management, and then moving on. So what you generally we hear out is that okay, for creative innovation, we have to, what is that called, think out of the box, right? But my thought on that is sometimes you have to think in the box. And why that is so important today is because, like Namrata said, many of the challenges, many of the learnings come from people who are on the job. And we try to think many times out of the box, but the thinking in someone's inbox may be out of the box for the rest of us. So let people speak. And communication is that it's a two-way channel. It's not just about talking, but also about listening. So my experience during these transformations, I can share one particular example is when we wanted to have some airborne system, right? And it's a cyber physical system, large. It's in radar and you want to change and get larger ranges. What can you do? You may increase power by increase some power. How much can you increase power on an airborne platform? So in that particular case, you have to change the complete design. So that's a transformational approach you take. For that, you require to have the right people, the right talent in to build it. You have to have the right technology over there, and you have to have the right tools. So people, processes, tools, all of that together makes the transformation. And I think that helps us to get in a large way successful in that counts.
Okay, on top of that, Vaibhav, I have one more question. Like, usually when we talk about transformations, right, leadership buy-in is super critical, right? And that is where when we try to follow top-down approach, usually, we face that friction of struggle in terms of getting right terms with the leadership, or getting that buy-in. How you see that from your context, and any key suggestions?
Yes, what we see as enterprise level challenges and team level challenges, they have some kind of bonding. The enterprise level challenges come from team commitments. The enterprise level comes from, if a team is committing to a particular level, they are committed, then half of the challenges of the at the enterprise level, they get cleared because the teams are self-organized, they are self-managed. So at enterprise level, you don't face any challenges. Now you talk of team level challenges. Team level challenges come from enterprise level. If there is no unfiltered transparency across the organization, a lot of alignment issues, people sticking on to the watermelons, then that's a problem. So to get, and as I said in the earlier context, we don't want buy-in, we want enrollment. Everyone wants to have that, not transformation, but those outcomes. And for that, we will do whatever we call it as a transformation. I think that should get us on the right path. And as you said, transformation is a journey. It's not a destination. So we will keep on succeeding in that.
Completely agree. Yeah, one last question for the entire panel before we open the floor for audience to shoot out their questions. On one side, organization looks for, good amount of goals that they need to achieve as part of the transformation and create some business. On the other side of the coin, they struggle to provide even minimum psychological safety to the teams to get to or to reach those goals. How you see, the entire panel? Let's start with Namrata to see what's her perspective. How a coach can fill this gap and align both leadership as well as teams to get to that psychological safety.
I think, Sharath, this is the very, very contextual question. Generally, I do not say that it's a contextual question. This is not my habit, right? But I think we need to now cannot generalize organizations or enterprises, I think, at this era. In 2023, right, there are still organizations, right? They are seeing value, they are seeing profit, they are seeing, with the purpose they started. If they are still profitable, right, it doesn't matter to them whether they want to do agile or not agile. At the end of the day, they are in the business to get the maximum ROI, right? If they are getting ROI and if they are happy, and if you are trying to, force fit, one of the leader comes in and he has done agile somewhere or he has hired an agile coach, things will not work because they are already profitable. They don't need to change, right? They don't need to transform. If I'm already healthy, if I'm already running, right? If I am already following my schedule, even if I have 10 doctors sitting near me, right? What is the benefit? I don't have any disease, right? So why I will say they are valuable to me? I'm saying, why are you wasting money on these doctors? I don't need any of them. I'm healthy, right? So second situation is, if you are actually looking at certain things, right, you really want to achieve some business outcome, you have competition in the market, you see that there are certain things which are missing. And as a leaders, you have identified that, and you think that because your competitors done it, and it might help you, right? So many transformations 5 years back were starting because of that. Okay, because somebody else is doing agile transformation, it is working for them, right? Every bank, they started transformation because ING started it, right? So everybody has that ING study, and then CBAs, and then, we have seen best of the examples across globe, right? I am fortunate that I have got a chance to work across globe, right? So I think if you are copying somebody, and if you are seeing that, okay, they succeeded it because they did it, right, then your agile transformation strategies are different. And now, right, I think in 2023, things are very, very different. Things are, if 2019 you pick up Agile Coach slide and you say direct communication, face-to-face communication, sitting in a room, creating your visual boards, right? In 2023, are you talking about anything like a physical board? No. So I think if you are still the same agile coach who are talking about all those things, or a scrum trainer who are talking about all these things, no. Today, the agile is about, right, how you are continuously, as Ganesh mentioned, it's about how you are continuously introspecting, how you are continuously learning, how you are continuously improving. And agile is that, right? We have not understood that agile is not a single method or a single framework. Agile is, you planned something, you executed it, you failed fast, you learned from it, you figured it out that it was going to give you outcome. I think if as a coach, right, we are able to simplify these things for our enterprise, I think they will be able to be there. And if you work with team, you help them, do this. If you work with a team above at a program level, you help them do this, continuously improve, inspect and adapt, retrospect, fail fast, go ahead, right? If you work at level above, like at a portfolio level, you do the same things. So I think the underlying core, I will go back to my thing, that if you as an agile or a transformation coach have a core corrected that, and you are asking the right, like Vaibhav said, right, if you have the right techniques, that you are trying to identify the problem first and then helping them to drive the solution related to that roadmap, you may be somewhere in your journey. And I always use Vaibhav, the journey example, right? Maybe I'll use that you are failing, right? And I will now love to use it that the transformation will not fail. Maybe you will just move from step A to step B. And step B was like you never imagined, but it has brought in some change in you in a better way. I will let, others too.
Yeah, Nagini, from your side, how you take this and how you try to build the club as a coach.
Psychological safety is something very, very important for any organization to create that culture in the workforce. Now we are talking about outcomes when the transformation is discussed. I'll take one small example which exactly happened in one of the organizations I was working. We used to have vendor partners. So the leadership asked the coaches to create something as a metric where they can see in the kind of shortened cycle times. That was the ask from the leadership. The intent behind that from the leadership was, if you have shortened cycle times, it will have, more kind of increased revenues, and go to market is lesser times, and you'll always have the first market advantage, first leader advantages in the market and all. How it has percolated to the next levels, when it came from the leadership, it was like, just go with shortened cycle times. When it went from the organization to the vendor partners, SLA was written in their agreement to have shorter cycle time. So what has gone into a metric there, you will be surprised to know that, I don't want to quote the client here, but it has gone into their SLA as an agreement that the first commit is going to be the measure, the metric for a developer. The time to first commit is taken as the greatest metric to measure the decreased cycle time. Can you imagine that? How it has percolated? Because there was no safety in that environment where they can come up and say, I need more time to understand the process. Our learning cycle is more. Nobody cared about decreasing the learning cycles or improving the learning cycles there. As soon as a person is joining the company, they need to go through some KT. They need to understand the function, the development process, and then they have to go and write a code and do the commit. The organization was coming in from the perspective that decrease that time when they are going to write their first code by improving their cycle times and all the other things. When the coaches discussed with the leadership, that was the coming out of it. But when it went into the SLAs and the vendor partners have signed this SLAs, it was written like the time to first commit has to be less than 30 days. I was just trying to give you how big
referring to output versus
output and how it has percolated into a metric where it doesn't have any sense at all. Now, what happened because of that is, since there is no psychological safety, nobody questioned how can we do that. The simple thing they have done from their side as vendor partners is fixed that 30 days SLA by asking the new developer to just write hello world and put it in the thing to commit it within the first 30 days. Problem is solved, but the outcome is not there. You understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah. So if you don't have the courage to ask, how can I achieve this? Or if you don't have the safety net to cross question, how is this going to be achievable? This is what happens. Intention is something else. Outcome is something else. And you have come up with some other metric for the vendor partner. And exactly the same thing happened. The vendor partners came into the company and asked, how are you maintaining your first time commit? What is your record? Because I am coming and working for you. I wanted to understand what is the best cycle time for you, or what is the best first time commit, first time code commit is for you in your company standards. You gave us 30 days. We are expecting it is 15 days for you. Otherwise, you won't ask her for 30 days, which was not happening.
I think,
right?
I think that was too much getting into the micromanagement.
Yeah, micromanagement and not giving that window of safety.
So maybe,
I think in the interest of time,
Vaibhav, you have something?
Yeah, just one point, like in a transformation, when you're talking of psychological safety, right? You're thirsty for certain changes to do. But if you try to drink from a fire hose, you will get wet, you will catch cold, you will sneeze, you might even get fever. So it's very important from a psychological point of safety view also to pick up your battles as small as they are possibly. Right. And then take an what you call as an organizational selfie, what we call as self-assessments, right? And then later on, when you move to where you want to go, once again, take that selfie. That will lead you to see whether you are on the right path. And there is an inbuilt psychological safety which you are bringing, because you yourself have done the self-assessment. No external person has done. I think that builds in a lot of psychological safety. Agreed. With everyone getting into the picture. I think that would be my short summarize before you call out time.
Yeah. I think this is a very interesting conversation that we had for the past 1.5 hours. Thanks to all the panelists. Now let's open up, questions from the audience. They are eagerly waiting, I know, for the past 1.5 hours. Let's open up for them. Please raise your hands, whoever wants to ask the question, so that we can unmute them. Anyone from the audience who want to ask any question?
There was something from Varuni Adiga that there is a listening to our opinion and they have something. Varuni, if you are.
Yeah, Varuni is not there. I think gone for dinner. Or
I think
too
P.
late here.
Ranjan has something.
I see a question. I see a chat where somebody wanted to ask instead of typing it here because they have a lot of things to ask.
Yeah, that is where I think Varuni was.
No, not that.
So it's, I would say P. Ranjan.
Yeah.
Right, I'm allowing you to ask. You can ask the question now.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to know, just before to that, I get to know about while doing the agile transformation, like I don't want to name the client, but still I am facing some kind of this kind of problem where they reach the cycle time and all, where they are discussions being going on. Now I'm in a situation where we have to complete those types of work, and we have already committed for on a quarterly basis to the client. But right now, when there is some efforts and all being given up, more efforts has been done because of the mutual disabilities and all, some because of some tools while coming from UK site and all. So now in a situation where how we are going to handle where client is not willing to they pay the amount and all the stuffs being into coming into picture. They are into a micromanagement stuffs where they told that cycle time where it's being there and you have to deliver this many of test cases within using this tool, but they themselves have not able to provide that tool in a situation. They have given 1 week or 2 week delay for that one. So there should be a mutual agreement has to be happen, but in this case there is a disagreement is happening. So in those scenarios, like how to handle client in a situation to win-win situation for both of the sides.
Maybe you want to take that question.
I can give it a try and then I would left. I think
Mhm.
interesting question. I was listening to, in the depth, and what is your role, right? What are the role you are playing in this entire thing? Are you acting as an agile coach or a scrum master?
It's a kind of senior scrum master, but it's a kind of ADM. They are telling agile delivery manager.
Okay, so agile delivery manager. So I think it's okay. Like what we should do is like we should try to solve it in a three aspects. Like if such situations happens, and I am not wearing a coach hat, I am not giving you this thing because I understand that there is sometimes a real problem, right? I'm just giving you certain approaches that you can think of when you get stuck, right? And in that aspect, right, if we always say that it's not about contract negotiation, it's customer collaboration, right? And it's not about just process documentation. It is about showing that software, right? We'll go by that literally, but this is a trap as well, right? If the person on the other side of the table, they have some other problems to solve, like if they have a focus on a cycle time, then rather than committing on sprint goals, I think we should make contracts of our social contracts as a team. I know you must be making some team charters, or you must be making some sprint definition of done and everything, right? Do not try to just adhere to the scrum at that level and then the other party has some other intentions. I think at that level, as an agile delivery manager, right, wear your project management hat as well. You can try to balance that. There are certain aspects, because in IT services we also go through certain these scenarios a lot many times, At that time, of course, we would love to educate them. I would like to take that courageous step. I will go and I will talk to the client leadership, but I understand that you might be going through some difficult situation at this point of a time. What you can do is like you can wear multiple hats of understanding that what you can do from a project management perspective. You can also see that what are the contractual bindments and procurements that you have done right from your client side, and then educate people that what you need, like if you really want to reduce weight, right, you will first measure what is your current weight. So if you really want to reduce the cycle time, you first should have what is the current cycle time, and then how do you want to reduce it, and then coming up with these things. So I think first of all, making yourself comfortable that what do they mean by cycle time when they want to reduce it, what is the current cycle time, right? And then what is the reduction? And then do we have right amount of tools? Do we have right amount of things to showcase this report? Okay. I know that I quickly, because I saw your questions and I was thinking that, there is a real thing. Let's give us you a concrete thing. You try it out. And then what we can do is that you can brainstorm with me and Nagini. We can spend up some time with you to see that, okay, if there is a real challenge that we can help you with. And this is the, because we will not be able to solve this problem in this forum very quickly. You may want to have, some approaches that you want to try. Your one approach might not work. You might fail. Come back, discuss with the forum, right? Everybody, right? I'm just quickly picked up Nagini because I work with her and we know we mentor, collectively many people. But you can come back and you can say, you tried this approach didn't work. What next? I hope, and I will.
Yes. Thank you so much, Namrata.
One last question in the interest of time. Anyone has any question? I saw Ankit Panchandra is fine. You took a lot of questions. Ankit, you want to ask any question from your side?
Ankit, you can unmute and
I think he's unmute. Yeah, we have
two Ankits.
Yes, I have unmuted myself.
Sure.
Thank you all for this wonderful session. But I raised my hand when the Nagini ma'am and the Namrata ma'am started the discussion. I have a query which I raised yesterday also, but I didn't get the clear-cut answer. But today, when I'm just listening to Nagini ma'am and Namrata ma'am, so I just thought they also gone through such of the pain which I am facing right now. My pain is the companies hired me as an agile coach. Okay, they giving me some KPIs and KRS, all the things. Okay, the reason behind that, we are not able to deliver the values in terms of story point, in terms of velocity, in terms of ROI, all the factors they have shown me. So what I did the analysis. Okay, I found the pain, where we are lagging. I did the trial for the 3 months to change something. Okay, the change in the framework. Okay, I did the trial. I found the solution. I presented in the front of management. Okay, but now, I face the issue of the ego. Why you are teaching to us? Because if you're working in a service-based company, okay, so all the projects are, we are getting from either from the other service company or, the product-based company. So if we are going to raise the concern, the other company who gave the project to us, okay, the framework which they implemented, it's not, working towards the delivery.
Ankit, sorry to interrupt you. Can you please come straightforward to the question or pain point that you are facing?
Samar, that's the pain point which I highlighted yesterday also, but I remember one of the mentor put me in the lean side. Okay, and still I have not received the answer for that one, and that's why I'm again raising for that.
It's okay.
One.
Yeah,
So how
your
to deal
question
this situation?
will be answered online. And okay, just hold on. your question will be answered online or offline. But please
As you
be
wish,
little crisp on
as you
your
wish,
question. That helps.
because that is the situation. Because the Vaibhav sir also mentioned if you are a consultant, it's difficult, and if you are internal employee, it's easy. But what I feel if you are an internal employee, you are seeing a direct impact. Okay, but if you are an external employee, so what they can do, they can say the contract is your over, you can tata bye bye. Okay, and immediately you can search for the other company for the next job. But if you are an internal employee, then it's impacting on your career and your growth also. So these all things are interrelated in when you're working in an organization. So these things, I have a direct question to Vaibhav sir and Nagini ma'am and the Namrata ma'am.
So Ankit, I think as Satish and Sharath are saying, let's do some online and offline thing. I'll give you my example. Okay, I weigh 80 kgs, right? And most of my friends are very lean, right? They're slim. I thought I will also do. I consulted a nutritionist, right? They observe you, they analyze you, they look at you, they ask for your test reports, they do everything, right? And then they suggest. Okay, so she created entire report and she asked me, do this, do that, right? When I read that entire report, I was like, it is impossible for me to do all these things, right? So tell me one thing which I can do. Otherwise, my ego will kick in. Oh no, I'm not fat. I'm happy, right? I'm okay. I look so beautiful, right? So I think what we need to do, Ankit, is sometimes you as a coach are doing your right part, right? You as a consultant showed them that what is the right thing, right? But you need to also understand, you need to empathize with them that where they are in their journey, right? So it's better like if a dietitian will tell me how to just start with a healthy lifestyle only, like then she said, okay, you just do 10 minutes walk, that's enough. And I said, okay, I'm not able, and initially when I started, I was not able to do 10 minutes walk also. Okay, so the same thing applies to agile transformations as well. You might have given them the entire roadmap, everything, their ego kicked in and all that. Pick up that 2-3 key things which you feel are very important, they must do, and they will see a challenge, right? And then just continuously nudge them patiently. Did you try? Did it help? Right? If it's not working, should I suggest you something? Like you need to actually learn certain other things. So what I'll do, I'll not waste time, let's have other questions. But Ankit, what we can do, we can spend some time. We have all gone through this pain. Okay, if today we are simplifying things for you, we were at that panic situation couple of years back. Okay,
Namrata ma'am, so it's a humble request.
Ankit.
It's a humble request. Can you plan, or the SS Guru can plan the offline session with me, including Nagini ma'am also, because Nagini ma'am, I remember that Nagini ma'am raised one point, if something is raising a concern and they are going for such a session, so you need to see your financial situation also to save the financial situation.
Ankit,
Ankit,
let's plan for a
not to
lean coffee session.
Yeah, Ankit, not to interfere in between, so we shared the panelist LinkedIn profiles, Nagini, Vaibhav, and Namrata. You can reach out to them, you can have a discussion. And what I just simply want to say is all of us shared our experiences, perspectives. Not everything will be success. We all have learnings, we all have failures, we have all challenges. What our key point is we need to understand what is your context. Being an outsider, none of us can say, Ankit, you have to do this, or Ankit, you have to follow these steps for your leadership, it will work. None of us have a straightforward answer. If you ask any of us here, none of us has an answer. Only thing is need to go through a coaching conversation one-on-one that will be helpful for you to understand the actual problem statement from your leadership perspective, then it will be helpful. Rather than having a discussion or continuing the discussion here, we won't be coming to a solution as such. That's my thought. Does that help your context, Ankit?
Yes, agreed. I will be more happy, if I get the offline session.
Definitely, you can reach out. No need for us to schedule. You are free to do it, because we act as a facilitators to bring in these panelists or the speakers throughout this yesterday and today.
You can reach out to any of us.
Any
Whenever
of us,
we have
yes.
some free time, we can spend with you. Don't worry about that. How do you reach out us? Just send us a connection request and your question. Wherever we feel we have some free time, we can spend some time with you.
Sure, I will do that.
And it's not just for Ankit. It is
Anybody,
for everyone.
anybody
right?
who's there.
Anybody, like
hearing,
all of us, like we are doing a lot of mentoring, coaching, and Nagini is going through ICF journey. I'm going through ICF journey. We have Lakshmi Narasimhan, who is in the Track2. He is already an ICF PCC coach. So we have excellent coaches or excellent mentors in this panel. Not only in this transformation panel, right? So in the summit itself. So use the Agile Summit WhatsApp group or the LinkedIn group, reach out to us and see how we can help you in your journey. You won't be able to solve the solutions. We can trigger or we can initiate the conversations and we can go ahead further.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, let me quickly share my screen.
Yes, Satish,
thanks.
let's take a quick selfie from all of us.
Selfie.
Everyone,
sure.
please turn. Everyone, please turn on your video just for a moment so that
Dhananjay and Balaji.
Dhananjay and Balaji.
Yeah.
Everyone, please turn on your video for a moment. At least most of them turned off. Multiple people capture the moment. Gaurav,
Sure.
Whoever gives the best clip, we'll try to.
we can capture it, Sharath. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Satish.
So in the
trying to
in the interest of time, we would like to appreciate all the pointers, guidance, whatnot, suggestions, inputs, experience sharing for all our wonderful panel, Nagini, Vaibhav, Namrata, and Ganesh. We would like to share a digital certificate with all of you as a vote of appreciation or vote of thanks from our side. Thanks for your valuable guidance, suggestion for all of us. We had a lot of experience or learnings in this 1.5 hour of Fireside chat. Instead of HR question and answer, we made sure we made it like a conversation so that the participants can get more benefit. That's the intention. A little bit of difference between yesterday's session and today's session. Okay, thanks. So let's quickly move on. How can we close the session without thanking our front runners or the warriors? Gaurav, Dhananjay, Venkat, Sneha. We have a few more volunteers who are not present here, but still, yes. They are the back end, but still, they are the front runners of the entire 2-day summit, not just the 2 days, the whole planning, organization, coordination, making sure the participants are there, answering the questions, helping with the technical challenges, everything. Thanks for all the volunteers.
Really appreciate it.
Let's
a lot of effort.
I just want to share.
Sharath, Satish, we know that it's not easy. Everybody wants to run such panels or such sessions, but it takes a lot of effort. Hats off to all of you, right? Everybody has a perspective. Everybody wants to talk. Everybody wants to do fireside chat. But to run this, to organize it, to coordinate it, that takes a lot of time and effort and energy. And that is commendable if you have done that. Okay.
Kudos to all of you.
Yeah, quoting John Doerr, ideas are good, execution is everything.
Yeah, that's correct.
Exactly. Thanks for that.
And
we are
just to add,
yes, Namrata,
community, as Nagini was saying, you can reach out to all of us. We do 101s, we do all that. I do a lot of mentoring session if you are really into your agile coaching journey. Okay. And I really do it voluntary, but you need to be very, very
commitment is important.
Commitment is important. It's not because we are very busy. So I run Agile Coaching Dojo every quarter. 10 people enrolls. I don't think even a single one continues for a quarter because it needs a lot of effort, right? It's very easy to look at somebody and say, But when you actually deep dive and when you understand what it makes to do all these things, I think it's not money. Okay, never think that if you don't have money, you can't be a agile coach. I used to have very less money in the beginning, right? So don't let the money be the blockage for you. If you really have the passion, if you really think it's your
It's a
goal,
mindset,
right?
yeah.
You will find mentors, and you will find mentors who, and across the world, right? I have got mentorship from so many people when I was not able to afford them at all, right? So we know that. So don't let money be the constraint or the mentoring be the constraint. If you really think that it's your agile coaching is your goal, go ahead. You will find out people who are ready to help you.
Yep.
That's the main intention of, or the motto of SS Agile Gurus as well. Money shouldn't be a constraint for anyone. That's the reason we organize this summit without any charges or any cost. Only thing we ask is the commitment or the time for the participation and getting the benefit out of these sessions. Yes, and
yeah, actually,
Namrata, just to mention, whenever I see your cohort, I will be hesitant. Can I give the commitment? Can I give the commitment? I still haven't got the courage to join your cohort.
Don't worry, you have not participated when they start, and when they start seeing my meals and the commitment that I asked for, and the number of hours that they need to spend, and the growth mindset that they need to have. Most of them don't reply after my second meal.
I know. I haven't even reached the step 1.
So it's everybody wants to be an agile coach, but the commitment that it takes to be there, and it's easy to identify your weaknesses, but it's very difficult to turn your weaknesses into your strengths, right? You will always have those weaknesses. Your weaknesses will not go, but you will turn those weaknesses into your strengths, and that will take you to the long way. So don't run away.
Whenever you see this, gully cricket played, everybody takes the bat and hits a ball, and they feel like they are ready for the professional cricket coaching and all. The moment you take it up as a serious thing, after the first week, you are gone. Once you are falling down on the ground and you get 2-3 scratches, all this enthusiasm goes for a toss. Nobody then turns out. Yeah.
But the warrior is one who gets the ball from
Yeah,
the
when you
broken
see
window
them
house.
winning the IPL, then
Whatever
you
is the
have to
broken
remember
window.
that ground first time when you fell and you ran away from that coaching. That is a difference, actually. Sorry for making everything into these connections where I have to quote something coming out of this simple language. I usually do
good
that for
examples.
my expertise is from the emotional intelligence part. So I always connect it with the on the ground scenarios to make it very simple.
Satish, you will be in the
Vaibhav, you are saying something?
Satish, you will be in the waiting list to join that cohort. Okay. I have enrolled multiple.
Namrata, be careful. Satish is trying to make it.
Okay, she will not allow me to be part of it. So you'll be in the waiting list. Okay.
Sure. I'm happy to be even in the
Balaji
waiting
sir,
list.
I am nowhere close to coach you. Okay, so that is the best thing I can say about you. The wealth of the knowledge and the wisdom that you have, I think it's only you should come up and start sharing. We are nowhere close. No coach. Like I have seen, thousands of coaches on the ground. They are nowhere close to you, sir. Who are we to coach you?
That's your humbleness, Namrata.
Vaibhav,
And
you're
we are
saying
happy to
something.
have Balaji
Here you don't.
yesterday in the product Fireside chat.
He's champ, Satish. I listen to him every day. You get an opportunity occasionally. He's part of the group, like he's our practice head, right? So he has tons and tons of wealth and knowledge, and the failures and the experiences that Balaji carries, I think, immense. I'm fortunate that I am part of Balaji's and Sandhya's team. I think my maximum learning. Yeah, I'm courageous, like I am bold. I'm I'm a millennial, so I am like kind of a that. But the wealth of knowledge my team has, I'm nowhere close to them. So I cannot coach them. Yeah.
I see a different Namrata today, Namrata. This is not
good.
We will not take the thrill of Satish, Balaji.
Nice.
Okay, so we are done with 2 virtual